Shay Kaur Grewal here with you on BBC Radio London till 6. Now, today is the 11th of November, also, of course, marked and known as Armistice Day. So at 11 o'clock this morning, people right across the country observed a 2-minute silence to remember all those who lost their lives in the two world wars. As a tribute to them, there is a bold new anthem. It's called Invisible Soldiers and is released today on Armistice Day. The song has been sung by author, filmmaker, human rights activist Manika Kaur, and it's always a pleasure to have her in the studio. But I must share with you that we've got the exclusive live radio play, first ever time that we're going to get to hear it on BBC Radio London. But first, hello Manika, how are you?
Hi Shay, thank you for having me here.
It's such a pleasure to have you here in the studio. A lot of our listeners, of course, will be marking Armistice Day today, but in the wider context, we know that by the end of the First War, at least 74,187 Indian soldiers had died. During the First World War, more than 1 million troops of the British Indian Army served overseas. And by the Second World War, in fact, the British Indian Army expanded and had grown to over 2.5 million men, which makes it the largest volunteer army in world history.
Absolutely.
And yet so many of us don't know this history.
It's because it's never really talked about. It's more like a footnote in history, where it should be given the main stage. That doesn't happen. The way that remembrance and colonization is talked about and taught in schools, I think is something that needs to be revisited. I think it's very important to teach these things and talk about them truthfully and openly, because then maybe we wouldn't end up having a march with over 100,000 people saying get the Indians out. When I came upon this knowledge, I actually met the head of the Sikh soldier organization. His name is Tim Bullar. And he made me aware that over 4 million soldiers came from India and fought for this country. That it wasn't only the lives that were sacrificed, it was the livelihood of an entire nation through the siphoning of jewels, wealth, ammunition, and food and fabrics. That at the time before British colonization, India's GDP was 25% of the world, and after it was 5% of the world. And I think these are very important things to be taught, because then maybe we would be marching together instead of separately. But learning these things from Tim, being Indian myself, I was surprised at how little I knew. How was this history erased? How did I grow up Indian and not know any of these stories?
It's quite something, Manika, because you're sat in the studio today, you're wearing a poppy. I know that you have adopted London very much as your home, and you're a proud mum. For anyone who goes to your social media, you know, you often will talk about the importance of learning history. Why has it been important for you as a mum to write a song like this, Invisible Soldiers, to have it released on Armistice Day, and really ensure that a lot of that forgotten history, or your words, erased history, is now brought forward into the zeitgeist?
So my children are British, my husband's British, I'm now British too,
Yeah.
and proud to be. But I think that creating a sense of belonging for everyone here and reminding people that of the contributions of all of those who participated in building what we have today is vital, because that's what's going to bring true unity. And what type of world do we really want our children to grow up in? A song like this, if you heard the story, when I met Tim, that was in 2019.
Okay.
He had started the Sikh soldier organization in 2009. It took him 10 years to get a bronze statue of a turbaned soldier in Greenhead Park in Huddersfield, where the Remembrance March begins every year.
Yeah.
It took him 10 years of reminding committees responsible for Remembrance Day of this history. When he met me and asked me to write an anthem for Remembrance Day, I completely understood how he felt. Doing the work that I do, where I've been spending 18 years talking about Punjab, releasing music content, talking about poverty, talking about oneness.
Yes.
I really understood how he felt on that decade of trying to get this story out there and getting very little movement and the resistance. And so I felt that heartbreak of being unseen, and I think that that made me instantly connect to his mission. And that was the birth of this anthem, Invisible Soldiers. And it's really amazing that, last year, the Sikh Soldier Organization received the King's Award. And this year he was given a lieutenant position, which is quite an honor as well. But that's after almost 2 decades of trying to bring forward the story of these incredible and valiant sacrifices that have never really been invited into the rooms where these things are honored. There are often these programs that happen in Royal Albert Hall for Remembrance Day. And if you watch them, there is clearly an exclusion happening here. I wrote this song during COVID. Since we've finished the song, every road we have walked down to try to get this out there has been met with great resistance, or just, sure, we'll do something, but nothing ever happens.
Okay.
Which is why I'm so thankful for someone like you, Shay, and even for the BBC to be playing this music today and to be bringing this story forward, finally, where it deserves to be heard and seen. And hopefully people will get behind this movement and understand that when we remember every soldier, that's when we all belong.
Beautiful words. And thank you for your kind words as well, Manika. I think it's a responsibility that all of us clearly should share. But at the same time, there are many communities. And I, this morning at the Cenotaph, was speaking to the British West Indian Regiment Heritage Trust and talking to them just about the contribution of many of the soldiers from the Caribbean. And it clearly is still the case that for many, let's say, second, third British, generation individuals like myself, there's more work to be done. There's still not enough of an understanding. Referring to what you were just saying earlier on with the Sikh Soldier Organisation, they actually received, as you mentioned, the King's Award for Voluntary Service. It's the highest award for volunteer groups within the country. What's your hope for future generations? Because some people, Manika, and it might be upsetting to individuals, some will say, this is such an outdated and boring conversation talking about Commonwealth countries and communities that if we really want to learn about it, we'll pick up a history book. And maybe, people will agree. But why has it been important for you to share this story through the medium of music for perhaps future generations?
So, this is a little bit of science and I'm geeking out a bit.
Okay, go for it.
In your brain, you have a completely, entirely separate neural network specifically for music. So music has such a great impact and can actually light up several centers, several parts of your brain. Songs tend to live on and carry a story and a message. Creating an anthem at this time where a lot of people, there's a lot of new music, and this is not just a song, this is an anthem. This is an anthem that tells a story of these invisible soldiers. And, even with creating this song, because at first I was working with this brilliant producer, Karsh, Kale, who had produced the music for a film that won many awards, Gully Boy, a Bollywood producer.
Yes.
But because of COVID and the fact that we couldn't get into a studio together, it was almost impossible to create the sound that we wanted.
Okay.
I had to rework the entire track again in London with my own team, working with Oscar Vinzan, who had produced a previous album, to do mixing and mastering, with Camilo Manjaro. All of these are people who live here. So they could really relate to it. Camilo works with choirs. He helped me rebuild the entire choir section. I invited Kirbal Singh Panesar, who's playing sarangi, and Sukhwinder Singh Pinky, who's playing the tabla.
Okay.
And then for the spoken word part, I actually reached out to a current Indian soldier serving in the British Army, Chaman Sandhu, and he's done the spoken word part in the beautiful and eloquent way that his accent gives to the track.
Okay.
And that just brought so much authenticity. I think it was meant to be created here by people who live here, whose families or lineages supported the rise of this great country. And this is kind of mostly, I would say, a homemade piece of music, an anthem.
Oh, wonderful.
That involves so many different cultures and backgrounds and tells this really important story. And it's about time that we bring this to the forefront. And I think it's really, really important, especially with marches where people are saying, get the Indians out. I think it's really important at this stage to understand the contribution of Indians, not just in the past, but till today, to every sector of this country, whether it's medical or whether you have entrepreneurs, whether it's the financial industry, bringing growth to this country. I think it's time to throw away. This is the boring talk.
Okay.
This is what we're bored of hearing.
Yeah.
The segregation, the separation, the looking down on people because of skin color. We're bored of this. Let's start educating people and get on the same page and rise as a nation.
I mean, I suspect there'll be people screaming at the radio saying, yes, Manika. The song is out and it's available today. And it was important for you, as you mentioned earlier, to have this recognition on Armistice Day. We've got the first ever radio play here on BBC Radio London, and I know other stations wanted it, so thank you for bringing it here to Radio London. Just before we play this song, and I will ask you to introduce it, what's next for you, Manika, in the coming into 2026?
So I'm very excited. I've actually created a short film. It's called She, Her, and it's going to be featured next week at the Sikh Lens Film Festival.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's my second film to go into the Sikh Lens Film Festival. And then in February, I have a song coming out with my label in the US, 6 Degrees, called Woman in Punjab, which is also a piece of art as well as a song. So I'm also very much looking forward for these two big releases coming.
You're going to have to come back into the show. Manika.Kaur for more details on all social media. Manika, will you do us the great pleasure of introducing your song?
So for the first time ever, I'd like to introduce Invisible Soldiers.
Time to remember a story never told of thousands of men with skin of gold who fought for a country not of their own and laid down their lives for this throne. Brown eyes staring at the sky, taking a last breath, no chance to say goodbye. Remember their sacrifice. Remember the loved ones left behind. Remember the turbans pointing to the sky. Remembering our soldiers keeps them alive. The invisible soldiers, no more. Invisible soldiers, no more. Invisible.
The full track is entitled Invisible Soldiers. A big thank you to Manika Kaur for coming in to Radio London. Time now is 2:31. Let's get an update on the roads, traffic and travel with Fiona McKinnon.